Please welcome to the stage John Grant.
The song I want to do for you is called Sigourney Weaver. It's about moving from Michigan to Colorado.
I woke up today, the air was very strange. I couldn't feel my skin and there was evil in my bones. I tried to speak but found that I didn't have a voice. It was a prison like the one you would find in the Twilight Zone. And I feel just like Sigourney Weaver when she had to kill those aliens. And one guy tried to get them back to the earth, and she couldn't believe her ears. So I was taken, or I went towards what was west, to where the ground was dead and struck out at the giant sky. The sky was black and filled with tiny silver holes, and it was there with a flattened voice that I began to cry out loud. And I feel just like Winona in that movie about vampires. And she couldn't get that accent right, and neither could that other guy. I feel just like I am on Jupiter, the one that looks like rainbow sherbet, but it doesn't lend itself to life, and I haven't finished yet.
So my last guest moved to Colorado and loves it,
Yeah.
but you are the opposite.
Yeah, I moved away from it and I hate it.
But you probably lived in different zones of Colorado, I would assume. I think.
I don't know. I mean, I spent most of my time in Denver.
Okay.
But I lived in Parker for a long time, which is a small suburb outside of Denver, way south of Denver. And I've also spent time in Boulder, too. So, not too different.
Okay. Sorry,
Exactly the same.
I tried. So anyways, so tell me about the record, because the record, from what I understand, almost never happened. Because you had been in a band called the Czars, you had been the frontman, and then you had some problems. Is that the euphemism for it?
That's safe to say.
Yeah, okay, problems. What happened? And where did you go, and how did this record end up coming to be?
Well, I sort of, long story short, the Czars was pretty unsuccessful, and I felt like a failure as far as a musician. I decided that I probably wasn't a good enough singer to go into music, and that my lyrics were stupid, and that I should probably just give up. And I also had a drinking problem and a cocaine problem, and that was part of the way that I dealt with the things that were going on in the Czars and things that were going on in my life. So I decided I needed to make a change, and I got sober and moved to New York City. And I don't know why the hell I moved there after that, but I just love to do cocaine in a city like that. Yeah, I moved there, and I did music for a little bit there, and then I did a couple of shows with a band called Midlake, and they had become friends of mine because we were on the same label. And then they knew that I was giving up and that I didn't really have any confidence in myself anymore, music-wise, and they encouraged me to come to Texas and make an album with them. And they were going to be my backing band, and they were going to let me stay with them for free. They were going to be my backing band for free, and they were going to let me use their studio for free.
Wow.
Which is not something that you hear very often.
No.
So I was skeptical, and it took me a long time to take them up on their offer, but
What do you think? It was like a Ponzi scheme or something?
Yeah. Well, my parents had been involved in Amway, so I was a little
Okay, so you make the record, but even after you make the record, you're still dealing with a lot of shit.
Yeah, I mean, you don't. I mean, I'm pretty fucked up in the head, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up, you know, gay in a Southern Baptist family, and I had trouble dealing with that quite a bit. And
You've said that the first 20 years, you've been the second 20 years of your life has been dealing with what happened the first 20 years.
Yeah. And I sort of deal with that in my music, and you know, people feel a little bit strange about hearing, you know, the extent of how personal my lyrics are, but I just, you know, it's nice for me to be able to say these things out loud without, you know, being afraid of, you know, being zapped or killed or sent to hell or whatever. But I definitely have used that to do the music that I do now, you know.
Do you ever write a song that is so personal and so intimate to what you've been through that it was something that you needed to get out of yourself, but you're hesitant to share it with others?
No.
Okay.
If I have a feeling that it causes people to feel uncomfortable, or that,
Well, I don't mean that.
Yeah.
I don't mean that at all. I mean that it's, you know, there's certain things that I might write down in my journal,
Right.
but I don't want people to know that about me just because I'm embarrassed or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I would ever write a song about it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think I would ever. But I'm pretty open about a lot of things, and I if I feel like, you know, I spent a lot of time not being myself and trying to fit in and try to talk and be the way people wanted me to be. So now I feel quite the opposite. You know, I just want to not necessarily, you know, go too far in the other direction and insult people all the time, which is very tempting. But no, I just yeah. If I feel like I shouldn't say something, then I usually am. It's usually pretty clear that I need to say it.
So many people, everyone really, can find comfort in music, especially music that speaks to their own experiences. There, in the last few months, especially, and certainly for forever, there's been just a number of incidents that have been really, really ugly concerning treatment of gays, and especially what happened at Rutgers. You've kind of come out on the good side of things right now. You're doing well. The album's been really received well. Do you see your music as being something that can reach people who were struggling the way you were?
I didn't when I was making the album, but now I feel like, you know, I mean, you know, all the suicides that are happening or that have happened recently, I do feel like it could be encouraging to people who are having a rough time with that, you know, people who feel like they can't come out, or, you know, and I think that's a very personal thing. I'm not into, you know, outing people. I think it's something that you have to decide that you want to do on your own, you know.
Sure.
But I think that it can help people. Yeah, I do.
No, that's. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I didn't.
To me,
see
that's
it that
the
way.
best.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate thing music can do for somebody,
Yeah.
to feel I'm not alone.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I want to do a video for the It Gets Better campaign, you know. Well, I've been asked to do one, and I've sort of I've hesitated doing it because there's days when I feel like things don't get that much better, and I feel like I might, you know, say that on there and say, well, you know, things do get better, but there's still a lot of assholes out there, you know. You can just sort of choose to not have to hang out with them later. You can choose who you hang out with. You don't have to be in a classroom with the people that are torturing you, you know. But I think that things have not come as far as they need to come, you know. I think there's just a lot of, you know, restrictions on language these days where people don't feel comfortable, or they can lose their job by saying what they really think. But a lot of people still feel the same way that they always did. But things certainly are changing slowly.
They're changing slowly, but it's still, to me, it seems like the one issue, or one of the very few issues that 25 years from now or 50 years from now, we're going to look back and be embarrassed by the way society has behaved.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed.
Yeah. Well, the album is beautiful, and it's not just downcast. It's very funny at times.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really upbeat album. It's, you know, it's saying I went through all this shit, but I mean, I love dark humor, you know.
Yeah.
And that's a part of my personality, and I think that it's much easier to digest material like that if you have the humor to go along with it.
Yeah,
know,
and
so.
it's got some sunny sounds from like the 70s kind
Absolutely.
of soft rock music done really nicely.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up listening to, you know, ABBA, Carpenters, Journey, Supertramp. You know, my brothers were listening to Kiss and Nazareth and Molly Hatchet and Bread and so I think I wanted to incorporate that into this album, you know, and I think using Midlake was really important in achieving that sound, you know.
Well, it's great, and you got a gig tomorrow at Shuba's.
Yep.
So we'll have a good show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming by.
My pleasure.
John Grant, everyone.